Musk is such a genius.
He's a legitimate super genius.
Are literal geniuses.
Genius or not? Yes, but definitely not the sort of genius you imagine.
These people are fucking idiots.
So who is he? Well, he goes into space, and we have to go back in time. 1971, South Africa, Pretoria, the beginning. Here on June 28th, Errol and May Musk's family had a son. Yes, you got it. It was Elon. His father, Errol, was an engineer and a wealthy man at the same time. The emerald mine in Zambia is more than just a love for all machines. In his 30s, no one considered Elon Musk a genius. Still, he was a smart man and the owner of a huge fortune. He had a luxurious life, a private jet, yachts, and expensive real estate. Errol was a king with a lot of money. He was also abusive towards his wife.
It was very violent. It was not a happy childhood. My father has serious issues.
He also led a scandalous life full of wrongdoings. The opposite of his father is Elon's mother, May Musk. Even now, at the age of 74, she's a nutritionist and model, has a successful career, and is known all over the world. In her numerous interviews, May says that she suffered physical and moral abuse in her marriage. Of course, it'd be difficult for them to become as famous as their son. That's why our story is about him, about Elon. At the age of 8, his parents divorced. His mother moved to Canada, where she started her life from the beginning, without any financial support from her husband. She recalls that period of her life as follows. After the divorce, I had to live and feed 3 children. Poverty makes you work very hard. Thus, in order to be satisfied with life now, she was forced to work a lot. So after living only 2 years in Canada with his mother, Elon returned to his father in Pretoria, and later his younger brother, Kimball, came to live with them as well. The reason for Elon's return was injustice, because 3 children lived with his mother, and his father was lonely. Indeed, we must help the abuser. What could be more logical? However, living with an abusive father could not but affect Elon. He said, "My dad will a carefully thought out plan of evil. He will plan evil." But a coin often has 2 sides. So on the other hand, living with his father ensured him a good education in prestigious schools in South Africa. Of course, Musk would have liked to have some cool computers, but his father refused to buy him a PC. Only when Elon raised some money on his own, his father helped him with the rest of the sum.
In many respects, and particularly computers. He didn't want to buy a computer and refused to use computers and said they would never amount to anything.
Elon was very different from his peers, a typical nerd with communication difficulties. He was a fan of books and computers. By the way, the fact that at age 12 he created a video game Blastar and sold it for $500. Yes, good money. By the way, what were you doing at the age of 12? At the age of 17, Musk finally moved from Africa.
You grew up in South Africa?
Yeah.
You were in the army there?
No, I left at 17 in order to avoid conscription into the South African
so you
army.
left so that you didn't have to do the army.
You know, spending 2 years suppressing black people didn't seem to be a great use of time.
I think that's probably the worst use of any human being's time.
Right.
So good for you.
Right.
Right on. Elon Musk.
In Canada, Elon entered Queen's University, after graduating from which he made a debt of $100,000.
I didn't have any money. In fact, I had negative money. I had huge student debts.
It's ironic that there's information in the media that Elon received a scholarship to study. Besides, Elon Musk, owning emerald mines, had the opportunity to easily pay for any education for his son. But Elon did not communicate with his father, and therefore speaks about it as something impossible. Speaking of emeralds, when Elon was 16, he was exploring New York with his brother Kimball. They had some emerald stones and decided to sell them. They went to Tiffany's store on 5th Avenue and sold it for $2,000. A little later, they came back to see how much Tiffany's was selling their emeralds for. Sure enough, the emeralds were worth more than $34,000. So, a video game at the age of 12, emerald stones at 16, what's next? And then, there were parties. No, Elon was no party boy. After Queens, Elon went to the University of Pennsylvania. Together with a friend, they rented a big house and threw house parties for $5 admission and unlimited beer. His friend also recalled that Elon never hung out with them, but was constantly busy playing games or researching on interesting subjects.
Which is trying to build a company and have it succeed is like eating glass and staring into the abyss.
The first serious project of Elon was the company Zip2. Created in 95 years together with his brother Kimball, Elon defined the mission of the company as follows. Everyone should be able to find the nearest pizzeria and figure out how to get there. To do this, he purchased a business directory of local companies and arranged the supply of free mapping software. Then he wrote code to combine the two databases, the list of businesses and the maps. It was a startup business with minimal investments. Liking money for separate housing, Elon and his partners lived in the office and used only one computer. However, this company attracted investments. Here's what Elon tweeted about it. Greg Corey's a friend of the Musk family who was a successful real estate developer at the time. At the stage of creating the company, he helped not only with finances, but also with influential connections that the other guys lacked. Finding such people is also an ability. LOL. He even got some benefit from the worst father in the world. There's information in the media that at the start of his son's company, Elon Musk invested $28,000 in it. Elon denies this information and comments on Twitter as follows. Elon has always benefited from people in general. For example, Rich Sorkin. With Sorkin's arrival, the company attracted $40 million in venture capital investment. Rich also hired a new team of programmers who completely rewrote the code created by Elon. Under Sorkin, Zip2 began offering its platform to newspapers, allowing them to create local directories for their online subscribers. The first client was a well-known newspaper called the New York Times. And during the period of Sorkin's work as CEO, the company increased the number of employees and went from zero income to more than $20 million US. However, Elon didn't agree with Sorkin's work style. So when Rich Sorkin agreed to merge with CitySearch in '98, Elon broke the deal worth $300 million, and with the help of the board of directors, removed Sorkin from being the main head of the company. Of course, it caused a mess and the company was sold, while Elon himself received $22 million. Of this amount, he took $1 million and bought a McLaren, which he later crashed while riding with his friend Peter Thiel.
Yeah, so I was driving up Sand Hill Road with Peter Thiel, one of the co-founders of PayPal. We were actually driving to see Mike Moritz. This is in 2000. And so we're driving up Sand Hill Road. I didn't really know how to drive the McLaren. And Peter says, so what can this do? And then
Of course, Musk didn't stop there. Elon's next project was the company X.com, an online bank that was created to transfer funds via email. At that time, transfers took a lot of time, and Elon attempted to revolutionize the banking system. Musk has again found cool experts and created a strong team. A banker from Canada, Harris Fricker, who worked with Musk during his internship at the Bank of Nova Scotia, former Zip2 employee Ed Ho, and Fricker's friend, Christopher Payne, who also studied at Queen's University.
money is there. I've sunk the great majority of my net worth into X.com, which is the new banking and mutual funds company on the internet that I've started.
Greg Corey also invested in the company. The CEO of X.com became Harris Fricker. At the start of the company, they attracted more than 200,000 registrations. Good results. But then the conflict between Musk and Fricker broke out. Harris was frustrated with Musk's management style and tried to drive him out of his own company. However, he failed and left alone, taking some of the employees with him. Hard times began for Musk, since he remained alone and knew exactly nothing about the banking sector. He urgently needed a new team. Elon appoints a new CEO, Bill Harris. They needed funds, so Musk took financial help from Michael Moritz, who worked at Sequoia Capital. He attracted engineers who also wanted to change the future of online banking. A few blocks away from their office was another startup called Confinity, which was working on a similar system. It was founded by Max Levchin, Luke Nozick, and Elon's friend Peter Thiel. Max Levchin created software for a web payment system, in which users could send money using their email address and credit card. They called this product PayPal. In 2000, X.com merged with Confinity. Musk won, so the company took the name X.com, and in the first 6 months of work made 1 million registrations. The United campaign was headed by Bill Harris. Musk became chairman of the board, and Thiel CFO. And then everything repeats itself. A conflict, this time between Harris and Thiel. Harris is fired, Thiel leaves on his own, and Elon becomes CEO. And after the appointment, changes the name of the product to ex-PayPal, which was previously called PayPal. But the management of the company didn't last long, due to dissatisfaction of the team with his management style. As CEO of a mixed company, Elon insisted on the primacy of the X.com brand. Musk decreed the cancellation of the PayPal code in favor of a completely new code that's compatible with the X.com architecture. This was a shock for Levchin, so a conflict broke out between them. It all ended in a coup. When Elon was on vacation, Levchin, with the help of Thiel and other allies on the board of directors, removed Musk as CEO of the company in 2001.
Elon's company merged with another company.
Yeah.
It became PayPal.
Right.
He was running the company. He went on an investment raising trip, and when he got back, what happened?
Well, yeah, so...
To replace Elon, Peter Thiel returned to the company and became the interim CEO. It was during his management that the company became known as PayPal. Very soon, it was ready for IPO and was sold to eBay for $1.5 billion. After the sale of PayPal, Elon's life changes a lot. He and his wife Justine moved to Los Angeles. The typical life of your dreams began. Houses with staff, private parties, and influential people. Soon, his first child's born, a son, Nevada, who died after 10 weeks of life. Despite the loss, they decided on IVF, and in 2002, they had twins. And 6 years later, triplets. It looks like a family idol. But Justine mentioned in an interview that sometimes Elon treated her cruelly. It's very similar to his own father, just like his love for money, SpaceX. Capital received from PayPal helped to launch SpaceX. By the way, have you noticed how often X appears in the names of Elon's companies? It seems to have a hidden meaning for the eccentric billionaire. Elon's fascinated by the idea of interplanetary travel and the colonization of Mars. In 2002, during a rocket launch in the Mojave Deserts of California, Elon met aerospace engineer Hans Koenigsmann. He was a genius in his field. Anyway, Elon once again gathered a cool team, but still the first attempt to launch in 2003 failed. And then the second, and the third, also unsuccessful. But Musk always goes forward. During this period, another project appeared in Elon's life, Tesla.
Can you describe the moment that you realized you could no longer be part of Tesla?
No.
Modern Edison stakes his claim using Tesla's name. The company that many associate with Elon Musk. In his interviews, he often speaks as if he founded Tesla. But there's some nuance there. Tesla was registered in 2003 by Martin Eberhard and Mark Terpening. These guys were inspired by the idea of an electric car and independently invented the first lithium battery, as this technology was not developed at all by other automotive giants. Tesla founders met Elon Musk at the Mars Society Forum in 2003, and later in 2004, he agreed to invest more than $6 million in the company. The Tesla was designed by Bill Moggridge. Martin was amazed. It was magic, he said. A telling moment was the publication in the New York Times, which came out after the presentation of the Roadster and made Eberhard the main star of Tesla. The article didn't say a word about Elon. Musk was furious and wrote a letter to Martin in which he expressed his frustration with the article. Subsequently, Martin Eberhard was fired from the post of CEO. Due to the difference in the cost of production of the Roadster, $140,000 against $109,000 declared. Elon blamed Eberhard for this and started looking for a new CEO. Investor Michael Marks, who had nothing to do with the automotive business, was temporarily appointed as CEO. Martin became a service station, but didn't work long and resigned under the new CEO, Drury. The appointment of Drury looked rather doubtful. He had extensive experience in the field of high technology, but had no experience in the automotive industry. At the same time, Elon stressed that it was Drury's diverse experience that influenced his appointment. Therefore, Musk finally became CEO in 2008. Commenting on his appointment, he noted that it was too difficult to find a qualified CEO, because Tesla wasn't a typical vehicle manufacturing company and had more of a startup culture. It looked as if previous appointments, especially Drury's, were just paving the way for Musk to take over.
At Tesla, we came many times close to bankruptcy. In fact, at the end of 2008, we were only a few days from bankruptcy. Literally 2 days, or 3 days maybe.
Later in 2009, Eberhard filed a lawsuit against Musk and the company itself, claiming defamation and breach of contract. The creator of Tesla accused Elon of trying to rewrite history, depriving him of the title of founder and developer of the Roadster model. Elon, in turn, filed a counterclaim to recognize him as the founder of Tesla Motors. The case did not go to court. The parties reached a compromise in the pretrial order. However, Elon was still recognized as one of the co-founders.
Concluded was a weird architecture now of this.
There's a lot of confusion. Tesla did not exist in any. Tesla was a shell company with no employees, no intellectual property when I invested. But a false narrative has been created by one of the other co-founders, Martin Eberhard.
Just like that. And what happened to SpaceX during this period? In 2008, Elon invested $100 million in SpaceX, the same year the fourth rocket launch was carried out, which was successful. But the successful launch of SpaceX is not entirely to the merit of Musk. Since the state came to the aid of the company, NASA provided a large contract to replenish the International Space Station.
NASA called and told us that we'd won a $1.5 billion contract. And I couldn't even hold the phone. It's like, I just blurted out, "I love you guys."
They saved you.
Yeah, they did.
So we're back to our times. Of course, SpaceX is the main success in Musk's career. There's a history of overcoming failures and real achievements, and Elon's direct participation in the development of the company. After all, he not only holds the position of CEO, but also personally participates in the development of individual engineering solutions. SpaceX is the foundation for Musk's idealistic desires for human flight to Mars. That is, a multi-billion-dollar company is based on the childish dreams of one person. It's ironic that in his interviews, Elon often emphasizes that people would be happier if they use social networks less.
But one of the issues with social media, it's been pointed out by many people, is that I think maybe particularly Instagram, people look like they have a much better life than they really do.
But guess who owns Twitter? Thus, Musk's actions always oppose his words. He says, "You need to do something that attracts the attention of the whole world. Otherwise, they will not believe that it's possible." That's why he's not the genius you imagined him to be.